Love to Hate, the podcast that asks the question, what do you love to hate?
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
Movies, television, music, books, nerd things, current events.
And I hate your ass face!
Do you love it?
No! No! Hell no! No!
Do you hate it?
Yes! You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard!
I fart in your general direction.
No more foreplay.
Love to Hate starts now. Hey everybody, this is Brandon Luna.
And I'm Philip Fullman, and this is Love to Hate. Brandon, what do we hate today?
I'm really not a fan of Zack Snyder.
Me either. He sucks.
He does.
And scene. No, that's told
Right.
you that'd be like the quickest podcast, and then just like, yeah, Zack Snyder sucks. I don't. I hate him because I just the stuff he's done with the DC material. I just think he's a hack.
I think so too. Yeah.
300 to me hasn't aged well.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. I showed it to my daughter the first time semi-recently, and she's like, I like, Sin City better. And I'm like, why would you even mention that? She's like, well, it's really kind of similar. It seems like it's like almost let's take it page by page from the comic book and turn it into a movie. And I thought they did it more successfully with Sin City. Mm-hmm. Like, well, you're looking at probably a better director with Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
When he does it right, he does it very well. Zack Snyder tends to, I don't know, he just seems a very on the surface director. It's not about the story, it's not about the
there's
characters.
No character development.
It's about how it looks.
That's it. It is a visual medium, and that's the thing about film. Of course, it is a visual medium, but there's also things you can do in film that you can't do in books now, where you're able to show emotion without dialogue. You're able to do all of these things. He utilizes none of them.
Yeah.
He wants it to be like a giant fireworks show.
Exactly, yeah.
Which I know a lot of people still love fireworks, but for me, after being a kid and you see a couple of fireworks shows, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with his movies, and especially when it's just so much thrown on the screen that your eyes can't even decipher what's going on.
Yeah. There used to be you used to hear people say, well, I have to see that movie a second time because there was so much going on that I missed some stuff. And that can be good because it could be based on the story, based on the way the actors portrayed things, based on the way it was shot. But with his movies, it's not that. It's more based on there's just too much shit going on, and he doesn't know how to frame a shot, and it's just too much. It's just overload.
Right. It's not like you miss the subtlety of the characters or anything like that. You just don't understand. And the way that Batman Superman was edited, you couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, Pulp Fiction's a good example of a movie that I had to see a second time to really capture the movie.
Sure.
Because of the way it was told, the storytelling style was different than anything else at the time. There was so much going on with all these different characters that you wanted to really kind of put together those pieces of the story so it made sense to you. That was a good example of a movie you need to see a second time to get it versus Batman versus Superman. The only reason you need to see that a second time is because you don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
And it's not going to make a difference the second time you see it. Unless apparently you watch the 30-minute longer version that has more of the story-based stuff that should have been there in the first place instead of the crap that was in there.
The stuff that they should have kept in so it made sense.
Exactly.
As opposed to the action scenes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the guy has dropped off as a filmmaker. I will say that I liked his Dawn of the Dead remake. I thought it was a well-done remake because it was very character-driven. You had characters that had a background. It was well acted. They had some good actors in there. I thought it was very well put together. I didn't like the digital blood, which he started that, and that became a thing. So you can blame him for that too. But I thought it was a very well-made remake. It was a good complement to the original versus everything he's done past that has been, Sucker Punch was a giant piece of crap. 300 hasn't aged well. It was cool at the time, but it hasn't aged well. What else did Watchmen was overlong. That's the other thing, too. He's got diarrhea of the visual eye. He can't make a movie that's under 2 hours long. No. But yet none of his movies have any substance, so it's just 2 hours of fluff.
He needs to get a better editor.
He needs to get a better editor, and he needs to not direct and let somebody else do it. I don't know.
There you go.
He just needs to not work. Just stop working.
He is the comic book Michael Bay.
Yeah, totally.
And I think from everything I'm hearing now about Suicide Squad is they kind of tried to take that tone that he set with Batman, Superman, kind of like they tried to do in Marvel where the films all have a general Marvel Universe tone. That's the tone they're trying to go with DC, and so they're trying to do this dark, gritty, DC universe,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. And now, if you've seen the Justice League trailer, it's horrible.
Yeah. And okay,
Because now
you
they're
can-
throwing in punchline. It's like, okay, that's not even funny. Now you're just trying to say that.
Yeah, and it's not even thought out punchlines. You know, like the whole thing about him having the batarang. Like, can I keep this? Like, you saw that coming a mile away. It's like, of course he's going to say, "Can I keep this?" Because everybody wants to keep that. So let's not go with the obvious, guys. Let's do something a little different. But I don't know. You can kind of blame Christopher Nolan for the dark tone that the DC films have taken. Because he started that with
But he
Batman
started with
Begins.
Batman. That wasn't
Yeah.
designed to be the DC universe.
Yeah.
So I think you blame Snyder for wanting to take Nolan's tone
Yeah. But
and set that,
take
or
out all of
DC
the
corporate.
Yeah, the thing with the Nolan movies, though, at least the first two, was that they actually had characters, they actually
Sure.
had good actors, they had good performances. So before all the pomp and circumstance, you had a good film with good characters
cared.
and a good story, and it kind of dropped off with Dark Knight Rises or whatever the hell the last one was with Bane.
Yeah, it was too. It was overly crowded.
Yeah. It's
Just
this-
didn't dig that story. And you know, the fact that it was 10 years after the second movie, I didn't really get that feel for it. There was nothing that said, okay, this is 10 years later to me.
It was the first of the Nolan movies that I felt was miscast. Because I didn't think Anne Hathaway was right for Catwoman.
I would agree.
I thought when I heard that what's his name is going to be Bane,
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, I was like, cool, great. But the way that they did it, you couldn't understand what the hell he was saying. They couldn't fix that ADR. I mean, it just really
they changed Bane's backstory a bit, which I thought was less interesting.
Yeah, totally.
So that is the third film in the franchise. Not my favorite, but still
Better than anything Zack
yeah,
Snyder's
because
done with the DC
again
universe.
it was character driven. So as we talked about, we agree Zack Snyder sucks.
Yeah, he does.
We
And
got
I
any-
think DC. Okay, so Marvel is the fun. Let's have all these great characters that have a lot of pithy lines, and there's some wittiness going on. There's a good story, and they've done that very well. It's more family oriented in a way. I can take my 8-year-old kid to see a Marvel movie and not have to worry about her getting scared. But with the DC stuff, it's like they wanted to do the polar opposite to kind of be the edgy version of it.
And the thing that's so funny about that to me is Marvel was always the edgy comic book.
Yeah.
DC was the lighthearted, campy comic for so long. And Stan Lee talked about, he wanted real heroes with real troubles. Here's a teenager bitten by a spider. How's he pay his bills? Family relationships, just all these real life type of situations. And now DC's tried to work that in. They started doing it in the comic books, was probably when I dropped off. Because, I want to be not cheesy, but I don't need the super gritty superhero stuff from DC. It's just, that's not what I'm looking for.
Right. You go to comic books for escapism, and we have enough reality that's grim.
Yeah.
We don't need
exactly.
it in our
It just
superheroes.
doesn't strike me as their wheelhouse. Their heroes being jerks. I think that was more of a Marvel thing.
Yeah, and I think they tried to go the fun route with Green Lantern and failed miserably.
Well,
So,
yeah, that.
Yeah, I don't even. You ask people like name some DC movies. They never name Green Lantern because I think they've tried to push it out of their conscience for.
Probably.
It's just such a bad movie. I still have that poster if you want it, by the way.
No, I'm good.
I'll give it to you. It's
No.
signed. It's signed.
By Ryan Reynolds?
No, by me.
Oh, well, then it's worth more to me.
It says, Brand Luna, this movie sucks. And then I was going to give it to
Oh,
you.
well, yeah. No, it did suck. And I've told you my feelings on Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
before. Although I did enjoy Deadpool very much.
I did as
But
well.
that played perfectly to his character.
Yeah.
Kind of like Gone Girl played perfectly to Ben Affleck because he's a douchebag. And never met him, but just I just don't
Get a
like
sense.
Ben Affleck. Yeah.
I don't either.
He was well cast as the proprietor of the Fashionable Mail in Mallrats.
Yes, he was. He was well cast in Dazed and Confused as the asshole.
I did like him in Chasing Amy, but those were Kevin Smith's words.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when Kevin Smith wasn't high.
Right, when he actually wrote witty dialogue.
Right. So I think other than those two films, I'm just not an Affleck guy. Everybody's like, you got to see The Town. It's like, yeah, but it's still Ben Affleck being Ben Affleck. Same with Tom Cruise. He's Tom Cruise in any role. So
Zack Snyder's in everything he does. So
That is true.
He's making some crappy movies that you guys need to stop seeing because they're making too much money.
Exactly.
And I don't know that universe can be salvaged as long as he's at the helm.
They will never see the success that Marvel has had.
Yeah.
They won't. They're just...
I mean, Suicide Squad's doing very well.
It dropped off 40%.
Yeah.
From Friday to Saturday.
I don't, who knows if it's going to put up... Batman versus Superman did better than it should have. I hate that.
Well, that was all the first weekend. And the majority of that was international box office.
True.
And I know there's a lot of fanboys who are like, well, the critics say this. Full disclosure, whenever you read a review by some snotty art critic from back east who's talking about weird foreign films that are subtitled, and then they rate action films or comedies, and they kind of turn their nose up at it, I usually almost always agree with those guys. So I've been called a snob once or twice.
Right. Yeah, I just don't think they're fun. I mean, that's the thing. I go to see those movies to have fun, and they're not fun movies.
And that was the thing that the Marvel movies do, is they work in the action, they're serious, but there's fun.
Yeah.
You have a good time. And these are just like, wow, this is horrible.
Yeah, just a beatdown.
So,
yeah, not a fan.
No, me
I don't
either.
know. I mean, I don't know what you can do other than...
You've got to junk it, and that's the thing. You're in for so much money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's easy to junk the Green Lantern franchise. One film, like, okay, we throw it out. But they're all in.
Yeah. So have you seen the Wonder Woman trailer?
Yeah, that looked okay. I said okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Not great.
Okay.
Yeah.
At best. The Justice League one looks like a mess.
That was
already
horrible. Batman being all buddy, goofy, laughy guy.
Yeah, it doesn't work, especially after you've seen him in the last movie. But I guess apparently since Martha is the name of his mother and Superman's, now he's like, well, I'm super cool.
Well, no, you know what it is? He goes out to find other heroes whose mothers are also named Martha, and they go out and fight villains whose mothers are not named Martha.
There you go.
So that's the whole crux of it. Aquaman, Flash, they all have moms named Martha. So that's
God.
That's what it was all.
So just
that would be like having the Jets and the Sharks rumble. It's like, what? Your mom's name is Maria? My mom's name is Maria. And then all of a sudden,
did we just become best friends? I think we did. And just that scene where he goes and saves his mom. He's like, I'm a friend of your son's. Like, what? Since when?
But you know what? Her line was one of my favorite of the movie. Yeah. I figured with the cape. It's just like,
I know, but since when?
Yeah,
you hated Superman for so long.
Yes.
And just one thing turned it for you.
And you're like, okay, go get my mom, who I love more than anything. I'll trust you, guy who just tried to stab me.
Just tried to kill me. Yeah.
So bad. There are just so many things I could pick apart about that I'm not going to go into.
Oh, man. I mean, who is a bad guy was just non-existent in that movie. He was just a big CGI creature.
Oh, Doomsday, that was so poorly done that Luthor made Doomsday, and you weren't. It's a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Luthor was a misstep too. It's
horribly miscast. That's why I won't go see the new Woody Allen movie, because what's his nuts is in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's his nut? Yeah, I know. Yeah, Social Network guy.
Yeah, I don't like him.
No, I don't either. He's a pain. Jesse Eisenberg. There
I don't like him.
God, we're old. Forgetting names left and right.
It's true. Kristen Stewart's in it too, and I don't like her.
Yeah, me neither.
So
she's in a Woody Allen movie?
Yeah.
Did you hear that he has a TV show coming to Amazon?
I did.
That's going to be interesting.
I was kind of interested in that.
Yeah, you got to get the Amazon Prime now.
I do.
Oh, you already have it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the Prime.
Yeah.
So been watching a lot of old movies actually on Amazon Prime.
We'll give DC one thing. DC does okay with the television shows.
Yeah, their animation's great. I just watched The Killing Joke. It was fantastic.
I didn't like had you read the
yeah.
Okay, so the first 30 minutes to me was an abomination, but after that it was good.
But I understand why they had to do it, because if you're not coming in as a fan and Barbara Gordon gets shot, you're like, okay. So,
yeah, but I mean, is anybody going to watch that that's not really a fan? I mean, we know the Batgirl story.
I know. I there might have been different ways to do it.
Her hooking up with the Batman.
That was interesting. That was odd.
I didn't like
but
it.
Overall, I liked it. Okay, so let's leave on this note.
Okay.
Killing Joke.
Better than Batman versus Superman.
It is better. Does Batman kill the Joker at the end? Yes or no?
No.
Grant Morrison says he does. I tend to agree.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Did you ever see the Dark Knight, the two-part animated thing, where he does kill the Joker?
No. I've read the book. But
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Definitely see that one.
And that. Honest to God, that is my biggest issue with comic books and the like. Is this whole attitude of if you kill the bad guy, you're as bad as they are, and I totally disagree with that.
Well,
if you have somebody like the Joker who's killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and you know he's going to get out, at some point you have to say we got to kill him.
Yeah.
Because what other option is there?
Right.
If a dog has rabies, you don't want to put the dog down, but you have to because it's a risk.
Yeah.
And to not do it, so that whole no, don't show you're better than them bullshit.
Which is why I
just
liked the end of Deadpool.
irks me.
You know, he just shot him. I was like,
like no, done. That's always been my take on stuff. So anytime I see that in movies or TV shows, that's usually the last episode I watch.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like that. Which is why I gravitated to 24, and I'm not a Kiefer Sutherland fan. But just his whole idea of like, hey, look, I don't want to have to wake up in the morning and kill people, but if I don't kill this guy, he's a bad guy, and he's going to kill other people. So what do you do? Which was kind of the overall theme of the second Batman movie Nolan did. Mm-hmm. Not that he's killing people, but it's like somebody's got to be the bad guy.
Yep.
Somebody's got to do these things that nobody else can do.
Yep.
Kind of got vigilante side on me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with it. It's eye for an eye.
So,
That's
yeah,
the way
it
should
is.
be.
So that's...
Especially when it's eye for several eyes. You know, there's...
Exactly. And I think, rather than the moralizing, I honestly think it's, from a writing standpoint, that you don't want to kill the cash cow.
Well, no.
Because if Batman... That's why you could do it in an Elseworlds type of scenario. But if you were to kill the Joker in continuity, of course, in comic books, everybody comes back. But if you were ever to just kill the character, then it'd be, well, what do we do now? Everybody loved the character.
Yeah.
So, to me, coming from a writing standpoint, it's, all right, disingenuous because you're just trying to keep the character around through circumstance. So you have your main character, Batman, doing things that aren't logical. And also, why do you think you can't create as good a character?
Yep. So do
Go
you
out and challenge yourself.
Do you prefer the original Batman series with, let's say the movies with Michael Keaton? Because, you know, Joker dies, Penguin dies as you progress there.
I thought it was more realistic in that aspect.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had the Disney, Disney
now,
ball.
now in the first one, he didn't save Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, true.
Which some people were like, oh, it's the same as killing.
No, it's not.
He's a bad guy. Like, I
don't have to save you.
No.
Yeah, it says it right there.
No. Which is why I had no objection to, going back to Snyder, Superman snapping Zod's neck.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what are you going to do? Sometimes you just have to.
And again, you go back to Snyder being a lackluster filmmaker, and they needed one extra little moment after he killed Zod would have solidified that for me a little better. Because Zod was going to kill these people, they're cowering in the corner. It was almost like a video game. As soon as he didn't kill him and he snapped his neck, they disappeared. It's like, bloop, bloop, went to the next level. They could have had the father come over and just say, you know, thank you so much, and have the family still scared of Superman because they don't understand. Like, he just killed this guy. But the dad is like, you know, thank you so much for saving my family.
Exactly.
And he just could have said, you know, that's what I do, you know.
Because you had that in all the Donner films. You know, when he saves the kid or something, they're like, hey, thanks, Superman. You saved my dumbass kid who, you know, jumped in Niagara Falls or whatever it was.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're right. That could have connected it.
Yeah, a little bit. Given a little more gravitas, as it were. Because his movies don't have that at all. It's just all spectacle and no emotion. And
None.
You know, the relationship that they tried to force with Superman and in the second one, it was in Batman v Superman was just it was just a beat down.
Yeah.
It seemed like, you know, why bother putting that scene in there where he's in the tub with her if you're not going to put more in there about their relationship? It just seemed like a waste.
He just comes home with groceries.
Yeah.
By the way, I just saved you by, you know, maybe killing a guy.
Exactly. I don't know.
He's a hack.
He is. He's a hack. So we definitely love to hate on
Zack
Snyder.
Snyder.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I think we beat this dog or this horse several times.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we
So-
talked about the superhero movies before, but this is just gravitated towards the evil that is Zack Snyder
Yeah.
as a filmmaker.
Exactly.
God, what
He's
a schmuck.
He's another Michael Bay.
Yeah, a lesser Michael Bay even. At least Michael Bay makes
Wow.
pretty explosions. And he does it like in camera. It's not all digital.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. He will actually
Michael Bay
spend the
blows
money.
stuff up. This guy just gets digital guys to do it for him. You know?
Have you seen, and if you kids at home haven't seen, Epic Rap Battles?
Yes.
It's Alfred Hitchcock versus, I don't even remember, but it's the Epic Rap Battles with Alfred Hitchcock and the directors. Stick around for the end of that one. It's completely worth seeing.
Yeah, definitely. So check us out where you can find us: Spreaker, Stitcher, Podomatic, iTunes, YouTube, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, kids.